Hey, this is John with the Utopia Experience. So today's video is going to be a little bit of an insight in our food forest. We've started creating this food forest about 6 to 7 years ago. The area that we're going to be showing you when we bought the property was a cornfield. There wasn't one tree over there. So it's been an amazing transformation. In the period of the last 6 to 7 years, we've planted over 18,000 trees. And it's just amazing to see the transformation of the vegetation, the soil, the animals, the birds, the wildlife that has returned to the area. It really is phenomenal. So now we're starting to really dial in our food forest, where we're starting to plant a lot more of the climbers, the vanilla, the black pepper, the madrecuyas or the passion fruits, a lot of other types of climbing fruits. So it's amazing. So I really want to take you over and show you some of these changes and kind of show you the ins and the outs of our food forest. So before we head down and actually start walking through the food forest, I just wanted to show you we've just purchased another 300 trees to be planted. We have guanaba, we have yucca, we have almond trees, we bought some other citrus. I think we got some grapefruit. Really excited to get these in the ground. So anyways, let's head down and then check out the rest of the forest. So here we are in kind of one of our paths inside of our food forest here. We have about 2.5 kilometers of walking trails inside of our property here. And just to kind of give you an example. So when we first started creating our food forest, like I said, it was a barren cornfield. So we tried planting a lot of trees and we tried planting a lot of stuff, but we had a lot of our trees were actually dying because it was just so dry. The soil wasn't, there was no nutrients in the soil, and it was just really intense sun. So we had some struggles. And so what we did at the beginning is we came through here and we planted, there's a hardwood tree up here that you can see with these small leaves. It's called madre cacao, and it has these small leaves up here. And it's a really hardy tree. It grows really fast, and it's a hardwood tree. So we came in and we planted about 5,000 of those. They're amazing trees. You can just take a cutting, you stick in the ground, and they start to grow. And they really produce a lot of nitrogen, so they really help to regenerate the soil. So that was the first thing that we did. We came through and we just planted a ton of these madre cacao trees so they could start to grow, help to regenerate the soil, as well as start to create some shade for the more delicate fruit trees, nut trees, cacao trees, and all these other things. So now that we've started to establish the forest, what we're going to be doing is coming back through here, trimming and pruning back a lot of these madre cacao trees. We won't take them out. What we're going to do is just cut the tops off. Because if you cut the top off, they're just going to re-sprout and regrow. They're incredibly fertile. So they'll still have new growth that will come out of them. We're going to use these madre cacaos as a base or a foundation for a lot of our climbers. Things like vanilla, things like our black pepper, things like passion fruit, any other kind of climbing fruit that we can think of. We'll use that as our like foundation. As well as, like right here, you can see this here's a macadamia nut tree. So this macadamia nut tree is established now, but it's getting a lot of shade. It needs to have some space to grow. So what we really need to do, come in here and chop the top of this madre cacao tree off. So this has a chance to get the sunlight and really take off, and so it can really thrive and flourish. So yeah, this macadamia nut tree is about probably 2.5 years old. So hopefully within the next 3 years, I'm hoping we'll start to see some macadamia nuts. That'll be amazing. You can look over here as well. We also have, we've got a lot of like bananas and things like this that we've mixed in here just to have diversity for birds and different things like this. And of course we harvest and we eat the bananas as well. So I think we have about roughly 1,500 bananas and plantain trees, or okay, are they trees or are they bushes? I think they're trees. I need to look that up. On our property. We have around 2,500 cacao trees on the property as of right now. So here's like one of our mini cacao trees. And another thing that we've planted just for diversity is a lot of flowers. And like if you walk up here, so this is ginger. So this is amazing, you know, for the soil as well as we use it for tea, and just it's a diversity for all the insects and for the birds and all the different animals. This here is another thing that we've planted everywhere. Not only is it beautiful, so this is, I don't know the actual scientific name. I know it as a trumpet flower. It's in the ginger family. It's really amazing. So these flowers, they fill up and they always keep water. They catch the dew and they catch the rain, and there's always water in these. And the root itself, it looks like ginger, but it doesn't really have any taste. It doesn't taste like ginger, but it's amazing. The water, when you dump it out, the water smells just like ginger. It's really amazing. But the main reason, apart from looking beautiful, is that we have these placed all over our property, is that this is an amazing source for your wildlife, for your birds, hummingbirds, bees, your lizards, your insects. They come and they get water out of this. So now you have your property, you know, like on a hill, and you have areas that are normally quite dry. You have a lot more life living in those areas, a lot more nature, a lot more diversity, just because they're able to have, there's a water source. So it's really cool. So if you want, we'll continue to walk, and I can show you some more plants and some more trees. We have a lot of different things that we have planted. So follow me and we'll check it out. So we've planted a lot of these climbers as well. They're a type of orchid. Really no fruits or anything, but they look beautiful, as well as just more diversity. I think in total, from what we've planted, I'm sure there's a lot more diversity than this, but from what we've planted, I need to check my records again, but I believe that we've personally planted about 500 different species of plants on the property, and there's a lot more that has been just naturally grown and kind of that, you know, birds have brought and dropped. So I'm sure there's a lot more diversity than that. So it's really a fun project. This here is, I know it as maguey. It's a plant. It's very similar. It's like in the cactus family, and the locals, well, the Mayans used it for making ropes. They would take this and crush it up, and they would use the fibers in this to make ropes and bags. And they actually say that they have found rope in the Mayan temples made from this maguey, which are still like new, completely strong. They don't biodegrade, they don't break down. It's amazing. It's just from the fibers. So I'm not exactly sure how they do the process, but they cut them. I know that they dry them in the sun. They smash them like with a rock, and then they start to peel apart the fibers, and then they twist it together somehow. But yeah, really interesting plant. So we have several of these planted throughout the property as well. So I thought that was kind of cool. So here we just have some birds of paradise, just really beautiful flowers. They attract a lot of hummingbirds, and they're great for the hotel because we take cuttings and they look beautiful, so why not? It's also in the family of the birds of paradise. I don't know the actual scientific name for it, but it's same family. I love these guys. Once again, I don't know the name, but it's actually, they feel just like soft velvet. And I don't know if you can see the colorations there when you, it's like this beautiful purple sheen when you turn them the right way. It's so gorgeous. And it's the softest thing you've ever felt. It's really amazing. So just more biodiversity. Here we have several of these throughout the property, but this is lemongrass. So it's amazing for teas, helps repel insects. So we have a lot of these planted around the property. We need to start kind of taking cuttings and duplicating these a lot, just to help kind of keep down the mosquitoes and different things, but it smells amazing, and it's great in tea. This here is a really interesting ground cover that we have growing everywhere. Once again, I don't know the scientific name. I got it from the locals here. They call it la cucaracha, the cockroach. But it's really beautiful and it's amazing. You can use it in salads. It actually has a really nice flavor to it, so you can just eat it. But it's super nice in salads. Here's our rickety rope bridge. We need to replace some boards, but it works. So just to let everyone know, it looks a little chaotic right now because we just went through last week and did a prune of all of our cacao trees. And we leave all that lay on the ground just for biodiversity, for it to break down and to really turn into compost. So usually for a month or two after we do the pruning, it looks a little rough, but trust me, the jungle will take back over real quick. These here are pretty cool. Just a fern. It's a native fern here to Guatemala. They call it a cola de quetzal. I guess because it looks like the tail of the quetzal bird, which is the national bird here in Guatemala. But really pretty. These are amazing. Not really edible, but they have the most beautiful smell ever. It almost smells like jasmine. It must be in the same family as the jasmine, but yeah, I don't know the scientific name either, but it's really nice. So here we're kind of getting into our more citrus area where you have lots of grapefruits, oranges, limes, what else we have, lychees, some hardwood trees, different things like this. So here you can see we actually have an amazing grapefruit. And up here we have some oranges. Yeah, that's orange. We actually need to harvest. There's a lot on the trees right now. It's crazy. This is a great yield this year. A lot of low-hanging fruit. So this here is the hibiscus. When it produces the flowers, you can make the hibiscus tea, or rosa de Jamaica. When it produces the little flowers, you just dry the flowers out. So it's really very beautiful. Here we have a lime tree. This tree back here is amazing. These are the ceiba trees. You can see how big this tree is. Basically, we planted this from seed. We planted this from seed about 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, 5 years ago, I think. So you can get an idea. It's huge and it's amazing. The seed itself is smaller than a grain of rice. There's such a small seed, and I'm just amazed at how quickly it grows. They get enormous. If you've seen any other pictures or videos here from Utopia, there's this massive ceiba tree in front of our main restaurant and lodge. But just to kind of give you an idea, like I can't I can't even touch my hands around this tree in like 5 to 6 years. So really, really cool. Such an amazing, amazing tree. So here you can see we have quite a bit of corn planted this year. Some baby banana trees here. So if we wanted to transplant any of these, we can literally just pull these out of the ground and then plant them someplace else, and then these will actually grow up into a mature tree, and they'll end up making 5 or 6 new babies around each one. So they're really easy to duplicate. So whenever you want to like start to duplicate your bananas or platanos, just dig out one, transplant it someplace else, and it will start to produce 5 or 6 around it. So like this particular one, you can see this was the main tree that we had planted originally, and it has created 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new offspring. So marigolds, amazing for they're beautiful, and they're great insect repellent, natural. They keep away a lot of the pests and a lot of the bugs. And then those are the seeds. You can just take these, spread them around, and it's a beautiful, beautiful flower, and they actually smells amazing. So, and you can actually eat them. They're great on salads too. Well, they're a little bitter actually, but you can eat them. Rosemary. Oh, I love the smell of that. Once again, great for insects. We have a lot of chili. So this is a chili pepe or chili something. It's a small, very small chili, very spicy. But yeah, so the rosemary grows great around those. We have pineapples right here. We have a, needs some more light. We need to prune these trees. And actually, this one's been eaten by a bird. That's all right. They need to eat too. But yeah, the pineapples are great. They take, it's really cool. So it takes 1 year to produce a pineapple. And once we cut this off, it will regrow. This plant will stay established and it will continue to produce pineapples, but it takes 1 year per pineapple. And then if we wanted to produce more pineapple, when we harvest this pineapple and we eat it, we just take the top off of this. We can stick this into the ground, and then this will start to grow a whole nother pineapple plant. After these pineapple plants have been established for about 3 to 4 years, they will start to produce little baby pineapple plants around the bottom that you can take out and also duplicate and replant. So, yeah. Here's a peach tree. Hasn't produced yet, but yeah, this is a peach tree. So I'm looking forward to that. So we've kind of done a big loop, go down this road, and we're back to Utopia, back down to the main lodge. So we just kind of did one loop, and then inside of this loop we have several other trails and other loops as well, with lots of other diversity of plants. So yeah, just to kind of give you an idea. The other thing I want to do eventually is this whole hillside here. I'm not sure if you can really see it, but this whole hillside where we just walked through, the idea is eventually to terrace it, to come in here and make terraced levels, and then use this for permaculture, to do raised garden beds, because this gets really good sun all day. It's not shaded, and then to use this whole area for yeah, like I said, for permaculture, for microgreens, lettuces, you know, cucumbers, tomatoes, peppers, all of these types of things. So, but for right now, we're using what we have with what we have, and making the most of it. Here's our woodworking shop where we build all of our furniture and yeah, fixing all of our stuff here in the hotel. So it's basic, but it gets the job done. And then we have a small, I don't know if you see right here, we have a small wood chipper, and we use that few times a year we chip down all of the little branches and some of the different things that we prune off the trees, and we use that for mulch for our gardens. And we're going to start using that for our psilocybin and for our mushroom cultivation. So hopefully soon we will have a large amount of mushrooms. So we're going to hopefully get going oyster mushrooms. We're hoping to start growing lion's mane, and 2 or 3 other varieties of really good edible mushrooms for soups and for just, yeah, good stuff. So that will be another video. We're going to start doing mushroom logs using some of our hardwood trees that we're going to be pruning down. We drill into those, plant the mycelium into the log itself, and you cap that with wax. And normally, in most places in the world, you have to actually keep those logs wet. You have to like dip them in water barrels to activate the mycelium to actually grow and take off and start creating the mushrooms. But here it's so humid. We're pretty confident that we can actually just sit these mushroom log towers up all through our cacao plantation. And we're really hoping that it will just thrive and that we can start to really have this 4-layer tier of food. You know, we have our hardwoods, we're going to have our fruit trees, our cacao, our lower crops, our gingers and our turmeric, all of these types of things, as well as our climbers, which would be our vanilla and our black pepper, and then hopefully get our mushroom logs going and just really have just this huge diversity. So like I said, it doesn't happen from day to day, but we're definitely on the trail and we're walking that path. So hopefully within the next few years, we'll definitely be there and be a little bit more closer to being self-sufficient. Right now, in all reality, we're probably only about 10 to 15% self-sufficient, like as far as what we're consuming and growing. But the dream is, the goal is, I would say within the next like 5 years to be around 80% self-sufficient, like relying on just what we can consume and grow here, like on the property. So, but if you want to, I want to show you one more thing before we go. I want to take you down and show you our cardamom and our vanilla and our black pepper plants, just so you guys have an idea what those look like. This is a pretty cool tree. This guy right here is a rainbow eucalyptus tree. Right now you don't really see it, but you can see all these different color patches on the bark here. But when the tree is fully grown, it's absolutely amazing. So like if you go online, just like type in like rainbow eucalyptus, like gorgeous. Like these, they'll get to be huge trees, purple, blue, fluorescent green, neon green, like just amazing, the bark on the tree. So we have a couple of these growing on the property as well, just for some diversity, but and it's beautiful. Here we have this tree right here is a mango tree. It actually produced this year for the first time. We ate our first mangoes off of our tree. We were so excited. It was absolutely amazing. We also have a lot of avocado trees as well. They haven't actually started producing yet, but we hope very soon. This here is another variety of banana. They're called dragon bananas. They're red. When they produce the actual banana, it's like blood red. So it's really, really cool. We've been trying to collect some more species and varieties of bananas. I read somewhere that there's actually 200 varieties of bananas. I would love to have them all. I love these. The bees love these guys. Beautiful. More hibiscus. Up here as well, if you want just to see some different varieties of plants that we have here. Oh. This here is eucalyptus. So not the rainbow eucalyptus, just more of a traditional eucalyptus, but it's amazing. The smell is just awesome. So I can't wait to have this. And then we have an oil press, so I would love to start making our own eucalyptus oil. It's really nice. So here we actually have one of our vanilla plants that we've got planted. I bought about 50 plants about a year and a half ago, and they finally have taken off. They say it takes around 3 to 4 years for it to actually start producing vanilla, or being capable of producing vanilla. The big issue with vanilla is that it's an orchid, and it will create a flower, and that flower only has a 24-hour window to be pollinated. So all commercial vanilla is hand pollinated. They grow it in greenhouses, and people go around and then they see the flowers and they hand pollinate those, each and every one of those flowers, to create the vanilla bean. So every single vanilla bean creates a flower, and each and every single vanilla bean has to be hand pollinated. So that's why vanilla is so expensive. But with all that being said, there is a bee. It's a special, it's very small. It's a melipitonin bee. I can never say the name right. I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments. It's a very small black bee, and it's native to this area, and it's actually one of the only bees that will actually pollinate the vanilla, the orchid flower. So we're lucky enough, we do have some of those bees here on the property. So what I have been doing is we've created some special little bee boxes, not to harvest the honey or anything like that, but just basically creating a wonderful accommodation for these little guys. And they actually are on, they're an endangered species of bee as well. So we're hoping to be able to help them propagate. We want to build these little tiny bee boxes, and if we can get them to move into these boxes, the idea is that we want to put by every single vanilla plant, we would like to sit one of these. They're little tiny, it's a tiny little bee box, maybe like 1 foot by 1 foot by like 8 inches or something like that. Tiny, it's a really tiny little hole, and the bees are only, they're like the size of an ant, a little bit bigger than a large ant. And yeah, the idea is that we'll just place these boxes by our vanilla plant, and with a little luck, we won't have to pollinate the vanilla. We'll let nature take care of that for us, and then we'll help the bee population, as well as being able to have some amazing vanilla without having to hand pollinate each and every orchid. So I thought that was really cool. If you guys want, I want to take you up and I want to show you our black pepper. It looks very similar to the vanilla, but just to show you guys how we have it growing. So here we have some oregano. It's a thick-leafed oregano. It's very, very meaty, very, very juicy. Like you can see the oil in it. This is amazing for making a pesto or oregano oil. Super good. Great for cooking. Like it's really thick. Ah, can you smell it? So we're up here, oops, in one of our nurseries. We have a lot of trees here growing. These here are, let's see if I'm not mistaken, this is, I believe, Ramon. It's a hardwood tree that produces a very small nut. And here in Guatemala, the Mayans, they used to make a flour out of it. It's really good, and you can make a really nice bread with it. So we've planted about 200 of these trees around our property lines, and I still have a ton more here. I need to go back and replant some more this year. But yeah, it's an amazing nut, which you can process into a flour. And then up here, yeah. So this all up here is teak. So teak wood, another really fast growing hardwood. So we've planted about 400 of these on the property, and we need to go through and try to plant, refill in whatever didn't make it or survive when we did the first plant, and fill in some empty spots. This here is moringa. These here are moringa trees. Really great medicinal. You take the leaf, they get much bigger, and you process this down into powder, and it's super amazing to eat. A lot of great health properties. And then here, you can see it's finally growing. So this here, this little guy right here, this is black pepper. We have about 150 of these guys that we've already planted on the property. Yeah, you can smell the pepper in the leaf. So it's another climbing plant. But I think we have about 150, maybe 160 that we planted originally. Yeah, here's a little bit better view of the black pepper. And when they start to produce the black pepper, it will just make a cluster of these really beautiful red berries. And you just cut the cluster of those red berries off, and you put it out. You put the whole berry out to be sun dried, and that red berry shrinks down and it turns into a black peppercorn. That's the whole thing, the whole berry. You don't really do anything to it other than it just gets sun dried down, and then people grind that down into black pepper. It's really amazing. And fresh black pepper is really, really good, I have to say. So that's kind of it. I mean, there's a lot more I could show you, but this was just kind of the whirlwind tour, kind of give you an idea what we're doing, what we've created, or what we're working on creating. Like I said, in the past 6 to 7 years, I think we've planted a bit over 18,000 trees. I lost count, but 18,000+ trees. Around roughly, I would say around 400 varieties of plants, maybe a bit more, to be honest. So yeah, it's a quite diverse food forest. So and like I said, it's a work in progress. We've done a few things backwards. We should have planted some of the taller hardwood trees first. So now we're going to have to go back in and really try to figure out how to prune some things down so they have space to grow. But we're managing it. We're getting there. So like I said, it's a work in progress. So anyways, we hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, like it, and maybe share it with your friends. And we hope to see you here soon. See you in the next video.